Hi, everybody. My name's Emma Stradling. I'm part of our PepsiCo sustainability team, and we're really excited today to be talking to you about the case study, presenting out the case study that we're going to be doing in partnership with you at University of Maryland. So just to give you a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about today, I'm going to start off by introducing you to the wonderful team here at PepsiCo who are working with us on this project. And they're going to take you through a quick introduction about our organization. Then we're going to hear from another one of our colleagues on purpose-driven marketing. Then we're going to talk about the brand Tropicana that you are going to be doing this case study on. And then we're finally going to end up with talking to you about what this case study actually is and what you need to be doing as part of this activity. So let me get us into our team here. So on the call today, we've got, we're very privileged to be joined by Rose Bowman, who I know is a UMD alum as well. We have Rachel England, we have Sean McCoy, and we have Chandan Nag. I'm going to hand over to Rose first and foremost. She's going to start by talking to you all about PepsiCo.
So thank you, Emma. And as Emma mentioned, I am a proud University of Maryland alum, as well as a 34-year veteran with PepsiCo. And I'd like to talk to you about my company. So you can see that at PepsiCo, we have incredible brands that have great scale and reach. We do over 70 billion in revenue. And the beverage team that I work on, we have over $23 billion brands. We're more than 200 countries, and we have almost 300,000 employees. And so you can see that many of these beverages and snacks are familiar to you. We have a full lineup of carbonated soft drinks as well as non-carbs. And also we have a global foods business, many favorites like Doritos, Stacy's, and Lay's, but also Quaker oatmeal products, as well as Cheetos. And PepsiCo has been on a sustainability journey for quite some time, and it has been and will be and continue to be a top priority. We began in 2006, and you can see some of the acquisitions that we've made, such as Naked Juice and SodaStream. In addition, we've received both industry and independent awards and accolades for the work that we've done in sustainability. Now I'd like to introduce you to our CEO, Ramon Laguarta. So as you saw on the previous page, our sustainability journey has been rich and is now a top priority that we are calling PepsiCo Positive. And it's not only about sustainability across our agriculture products, but across everything we do, and will permeate in our entire organization and is a responsibility and a passion for all of the PepsiCo associates. Our three key platforms about PepsiCo Positive are around positive agriculture, a positive value chain, and positive choices that impact not only the planet, but people. And a little more detail about PepsiCo Positive, you can see across our positive agriculture, value chain, and choices, these are very ambitious goals. They are based in science, and they have strong deliverables that will benefit the planet for years to come. Now, so you've heard from me about PepsiCo Positive, but there's really no better way to see, hear, and feel not only the importance of this, but the excitement of the teams that lead this journey for PepsiCo. And now I'd like to turn it over to your professor to play the video.
Thank you, Rose, for introducing everyone to PepsiCo. Now, really quickly, as Rose mentioned, we have a huge portfolio. It's extraordinarily broad and diverse. And I think what I'd like to do now is just take a second to ask all of the people who are joining me today. We've got Rose, we've got Chandan, we've got Rachel, and we've got Sean. I'd like to ask you what your favorite PepsiCo brands are and why. And obviously, you guys in your classroom or your study hall or wherever you are right now, if you guys want to do that, you could maybe, I don't know if you're virtual, enter it into the chat, or if you're in person, have a little poll on what your favorite PepsiCo brands are. But I'm going to kick it off with Rose. and she can tell us which is your favorite PepsiCo brand, Rose, and why is that?
Emma, my favorite is Quaker oatmeal. And the reason is not only do I enjoy a very healthy bowl of Quaker oatmeal in the wintertime, I also enjoy very healthy overnight oats with Quaker in the summertime. In addition, it's so versatile. I use it in so many recipes. So it's great for you and it's great tasting and very versatile.
Love it. All right. Rachel, why don't you tell us what your favorite PepsiCo brand is and why that is?
Absolutely. Yeah, looking at these photos, there are so many. We have
I
to
know,
pick
right?
Naked Juice. I grew up in Miami, and the Chicago winters can be rough. So when I open one of those pina colada flavored ones, I just feel transported back to the beach. It makes me happy.
And Shandon, how about you?
My favorite PepsiCo brand is bubbly sparkling water. I find it very refreshing. It's very healthy, and there's such a variety of lineup of flavors. And then last year we launched our caffeine one. So if I need a little bit of a kick, I can switch to Bubbly Bounce.
Love it. All right, last but not least, Sean, what's your favorite PepsiCo brand and why?
Well, Rose definitely took mine because mine's Quaker Oats. I eat it for breakfast every morning, so I'll have to pick a runner up, and with that, I'd probably go with Lay's potato chips. I just like how many different varieties, all the different flavors they're able to bring, and there's always something different on the shelf whenever you're looking for a snack like that.
Yeah, love it. Mine's Life Water. I know that's really boring, but I love the bottles. I love that we've got all of the, we have all these wonderful D&I programs that we introduce, and the bottle itself is in recycled plastic, which I think is great as well. So that's my favorite one. All right, I'm now going to hand us over. Rachel is now going to talk to us about purpose-driven marketing. So thanks everybody for sharing, and I'm going to hand it to Rachel now.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here with us today. My name is Rachel England. I sit on the innovation team for the juice businesses, and I run our sustainable innovation and help kind of map our strategy for Total PepsiCo onto the work we do at Juice Plus. So my background, I went to Washington University in St. Louis for undergrad, got my master's in marketing at the University of Michigan, and have been at PepsiCo a little under a year. So thrilled to be here today with you. And let's dive right into purpose-driven marketing. So purpose-driven marketing is really about brands that do good and that inspire good. And there are a number of ways this can come to life, both on the social side and the environmental side. Two examples I'd love to celebrate, and you see a number at the bottom. Stella did a campaign recently. It was their first global social impact campaign where they donated over $1 million to water.org, but they also invited consumers to join in on that. And when they bought a chalice, they would donate 5 years of water to one individual in the developing world. And Tide also put out a new product recently with completely recycled material, really pushing that circular packaging angle that we at PepsiCo also have embedded in our portfolio. Consumers really are expecting that brands pick up this gauntlet and that they live this purpose, and we're seeing those results in the marketplace. I think a great example is Dove's campaign that we've seen different iterations of since its first launch in 2004, where they begin talking about how did our ideals of beauty become so distorted and have their real beauty campaign. And we're really seeing that, especially our younger consumers are voting with their dollar. They're switching to brands that support these causes, and it's delighting our consumers along the way. As we see from research, the consumers feel better when they buy sustainable products. And then kind of on the flip side, consumers will punish brands who don't act ethically. Internally here at PepsiCo, we went through a rebrand of our Aunt Jemima brand to Pearl Mill Mining recently. Similarly with Uncle Ben's and Mars, the brand really talked about their commitment to evolving, and that's something that consumers talked about in the marketplace. And Unilever has a brand, Fair and Lovely, that really promotes a more singular idea of beauty, especially in its marketplace in India. And consumers have had a lot to say about that. One example from within our portfolio, talking about Life Water, the example that Emma gave, is we did a partnership with Issa Rae for a campaign called Life Unseen. And the intent here was really to raise diverse voices across film, fashion, music, arts, and use our brand, our bottle, the recycled bottle, as a canvas to celebrate these artists. This was our biggest collection to date, and it really helped these artists become seen in a different opportunity. So let's dive into the focus of our case study today, brand Tropicana. I'm really excited to show some market results and help the group really understand who our consumer is and what do they care about. So we have an incredibly iconic and strong juice brand. Our sales certainly reflect that, and we saw incredible growth during the pandemic and even continued into this year. And we've continued to be the share leader in orange juice with the highest national brand loyalty of our competitive set. And getting to know kind of what we stand for and what our consumers really care about. Our brand purpose is to provide moments of brightness throughout the day, because we know that our consumers really value time with family and friends, but also these small moments of joy and brightness in their day, and the dependability of brand Tropicana in bringing them those moments. As we go into our 75th year, nostalgia is also incredibly important to our brand, and consumers know they can depend on that great taste that generations before them had as well. So our team has really identified two spaces where we see this coming to life, one on the planet side and one on the people side. So our planet area that we're focusing on to bring that purpose to life is advancing bright ideas to protect the orange grove. And in the people side, sort of the flip of that is creating brighter future for American families that we know are incredibly important to the heritage of our brand, but also its future. And as I mentioned, this will be our 75th year of bringing this brightness to American families, something we're very proud about and excited to celebrate. And we do have a dedicated sustainability vision that's called Brighter Days for Brighter Future. So I'm just going to read it and then I'll pass off to Sean to get into a little bit more detail on how that comes to life. So you can't control everything that happens, but you can control how you experience it and the choices you make. That's why within the Juice Plus team, we're making positive choices to help deliver brighter days.
Yeah, great way to transition it too. Thank you, Rachel. So I'm Sean McCoy. I'm Director of Global Procurement here at Pepsi, working on the Juice Plus brands. And I've spent the past 8 years at PepsiCo working in various roles of our Florida fruit procurement department, meaning that I'm working directly with growers in the business in order to maximize our oranges for our orange juice. And as part of that, you know, I've been directly involved in the sustainability and supplier diversity programs as we push those with our grower base. So Tropicana is obviously just the same as PepsiCo Positive, pushed to find more sustainable sources for oranges and operate more sustainably. So our processing plants use every piece of the orange. We obviously use the juice and the pulp for our products, but we also extract orange oils and use those in the fragrance market for perfumes and flavor additives, things like that. And then finally, the peel of the orange is actually made into cattle feed and sold back to local farmers. We're also committed to regenerative practices, regenerative agricultural practices. PepsiCo is committed to the spread of the adoption of this regenerative farming across 7 million acres globally. And within Florida citrus here, we've got about 100,000 acres that we can directly impact. Tropicana's oranges are mainly sourced from Florida, but we do have an impact in Brazil as well, as we source some of our juice from there. We're also looking to strengthen the livelihood of our local farms. And so Pepsi's offering access to technology and skills about these regenerative agriculture practices through demo farms and through seminars on sustainability. And so Tropicana is really engaged and always has been. As Rachel mentioned, we've been around for 75 years, and you don't form that relationship overnight, especially in an agricultural community. So, you know, we're involved from the grove all the way to the glass with the production of these oranges. 85% of Tropicana's oranges are bought directly from the farmers in Florida. We don't go through brokers. We're working with the people who are fertilizing, who are harvesting, and making the decisions on how to grow these oranges. The remainder of them are bought through brokers, but most of those brokers are local entities who are consolidating fruit for small family farms. So some small family farms can get better pricing if they go through local brokers. There's 6 varieties of oranges that we use to produce Tropicana orange juice across the 6-month harvest window, which we're actually in now. We started shortly after Thanksgiving and we'll run to Memorial Day, making orange juice 7 days a week. Tropicana assists our growers by identifying fruit that's at peak quality for harvest and managing the supply of that fruit to our processing plants through that 6-month window in order to both maximize the return for our growers and also obviously maximize the quality of our product to our consumers. Each orange is harvested by hand. It never goes to storage other than as juice, and it's never degreened or ever processed before we receive it. So we get it straight from the grove and turn it into orange juice within usually about 24 hours. We're working closely, and I think I touch on it in a couple of slides, probably the next slide even, working closely with researchers and growers in the industry to find solutions to some of our major challenges. And the biggest challenge that we've had in Florida citrus for about 15 years is a disease called citrus greening. It's a tree disease that's causing substantial losses to growth productivity, reducing the number of fruit on the tree, reducing some of the quality characteristics of the orange juice. And so we're really keyed in with the entire industry here in Florida in how to solve this disease and strengthen the industry and build back stronger. And finally, Tropicana was the first in the industry to verify its grower base as sustainably sourced using a third-party verification. So we've interacted with all of our direct growers and verified that the practices that they're using on their farm are sustainably sustainable agriculture based and used a third-party verification to achieve that. So I want to take a moment to go through some of the timeline of our commitment to sustainability. Like I said, it's morphed and evolved over the years, and we're fully in on PepsiCo positive now. But over the course of 75 years, obviously, we've had various initiatives for how to make our industry more sustainable for our growers and for us. If we want more oranges, we can't just ask for more oranges next year. It's a 5-year time frame before those trees start bearing fruit, and then those trees are there bearing fruit for us for 20 to 25 years. So everything that we've done in Tropicana's agriculture side has always had to have a very long-term sustainable vision to it, because the decisions we make today we're going to be living with for decades. So obviously, one of them, and one of the key ones that I'm a fan of, because my education was at the University of Florida, is we have a partnership with the University of Florida, as well as the University of Minnesota and USDA to test the latest advances in protecting citrus in demo farms that we founded in 2013. Hundreds of growers visit these farms each year, and we've had a legacy of supporting the farmers and the orange grove through these demo farms. Additionally, we're a key member of a USDA-backed consortium with Bayer, the research and agrochemical company, and in collaboration with Coke, who would be our top competitor, obviously, but it's a pre-competitive agreement because we're all in this together to try to solve citrus greening. And over the past 4 to 5 years, the consortium is focused on agricultural advances to build the immunity of the trees by finding some natural compounds that would target and kill the citrus greening disease. And finally, we're piloting the latest in technology and regenerative ag practices by using a company called Aerobotics Imaging, who is actually taking satellite photos of the groves and allowing us to use data and kind of next level imaging and analysis on these groves to find out where our weak spots are and improve our agriculture practices in real time versus maybe the traditional way of a farmer driving through his grove and saying, well, this tree looks a little sick. Now we're able to cover thousands of acres through some of this latest technology. In addition, we're utilizing Cool Farm Tool, which is a greenhouse gas measurement tool, and we're reaching out with our growers and piloting that in order to measure the impact of greenhouse gases our industry is having. So obviously, the citrus industry has had its challenges, and I outlined the biggest one of those right now is citrus greening disease, and that's caused a lot of turmoil for the growers themselves as it's lowered yields, as it's lowered productivity of the groves, decreased quality, and increased our responsibility back to our consumers in order to keep a consistent product on the shelves. But through all of this, we've been able to really strengthen our relationship with our growers and grow our commitment on sustainable agriculture by implementing scientific practices towards greening mitigation, improving water quality, and working with our growers on fertilization programs, on tree disposal, and also working with them on just general sustainability education, broad reaching. We buy about 40% of the oranges in Florida, so we have a very large impact when it comes to the messaging that we're able to inflict upon this industry. And I think that's all I had on the agricultural piece, and I'll hand it back over to Emma.
I'm going to hand us over to Shandon, who's going to now present, now that you've heard all of this wonderful information about Tropicana, about purpose-driven marketing, and of course about what we as PepsiCo are doing as a whole. I'm going to hand over to Shandon, who is going to take you through the case study that you're going to be doing.
Thanks, Emma. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. My name is Chandan Nag. I've been with Pepsi 18 years. I'm currently the senior manager in the DMV market for food service workplace. I have the privilege of managing the contract from a sales perspective that we have with University of Maryland. I have my undergraduate degree in business administration with a minor in communications and my master's in business administration as well. So now I have the honor to walk you through the case presentation details. So as Sean alluded to, communication revolving citrus greening is really critical. So our intent is to raise awareness and call for action, but not to scare our consumers. So please keep that in mind throughout the case study. And two things that we want you to try to consider: how do we find the balance of raising awareness on the challenges imposed on the OJ industry while leveraging our brand to authentically drive change? And then secondly, what watch out would you have when putting your campaign together? So before we get into the actual case study details, I want to share with you that you're not going to be left on the island. PepsiCo is going to provide 3 different planks of research for you guys to leverage. The first will be around brand affinity and environment, second around brand preferences, and third around juice recycling program. So the group deliverables, we want you to develop a marketing campaign on how Tropicana plans to support the future of orange groves. In a couple of slides, we'll share with you the entire timeline for the project, but your project will be due for a deliverable of March 11th. And our ask is create a PowerPoint presentation for the PepsiCo team with your research, the process you went through, and your recommendation. Keep it to about 8 to 10 minutes, and then include consumer research that's available depending on the questions you close. So for the competition criteria, there's going to be 8 different planks that you see down here. So we're going to judge each of your groups across these metrics, and the winning team will receive $200 per member of the team. And we ask that you keep your group team to 5 people max. So competition resources. So each team's actually going to be assigned a PepsiCo mentor. There's going to be 3 total. Each mentor is going to provide 2 30-minute sessions the week of February 14th and the week February 28th through March 9th, so that we can review the presentation with you. I will be one of the 3 mentors. Just understand that not every mentor is a subject matter. So we're really here to help provide you feedback on how you're presenting your business perspective, your deliverables, kind of like how you have the type of information, and how you're sending your message in. You're also going to have access to the business school coach. They'll be able to team up with you. That's going to be held the Friday before the final competition. Here's a complete timeline. So the initial announcement was first made the week of November 2nd. And as we mentioned, your deliverable will be March 11th, but there will be check-in points per this calendar for you guys to be successful. So your recommendation and campaign thought starters. So we want to provide you with a little bit of insight on how we're thinking about it. So think about identifying options for addressing the current challenges, but leverage PepsiCo's strength. And we have provided that on the next page. And then make sure you develop a recommendation and provide rationale, logic for your recommendations. And then how does your recommendation align with the PepsiCo sustainability journey that this team has provided? But we really want you to bring your presentation to life, enjoy it. So make sure you think about different social media, in-store customer programming, any videos, just to bring your whole presentation on a different level than everyone else. So questions you might consider as outcomes to your campaign. Think about the plummeting yields and decline in tree health that Sean alluded to, generation farmers to continue up to farm. Think about those questions to incorporate into your presentation. And on when you guys are in person, or if you're on the Zoom call, your local professor will help address any other questions that you may have. And I will hand it back to Emma. Thank you.
Thanks so much to everyone for joining us. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Shandon. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Rachel, for taking us through that. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask your professor now. We look forward to seeing what you produce. Thanks so much, everyone.